Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon.
So, after Graciano and Lorenzo exhumed from the scene, we have Antonio and Bassanio alone talking to each other. And the conversation that they have after this, from here onwards to the end of the play, end of the scene, Act 1, Scene 1, this conversation is very, very important because it establishes few important concepts. The first one being the very emotional and the amicable and the understanding relationship that Antonio shares with Bassanio, the kind of friendship that they share, which is beyond description, which cannot be put into words. It can just be felt, the unconditional aspect of Antonio's love for Bassanio. And slowly, as we come to this portion of the scene, we may well guess whether the sadness that everyone was so bothered and so worried about in Antonio's demeanor, in changed behavior, is actually Bassanio's going to Belmont. The reason could be this, which is why the portions that we are going to do from here onwards is absolutely important because it establishes their faith, their trust, and their promise that they have for each other and their friendship. And through their interaction, Shakespeare very intricately and deftly introduces Portia. Without her appearing on the scene, she appears in the next Act 1, Scene 2, but this acts as an introduction of sorts because the audience is able to understand, anticipate, and it kind of arouses a curiosity and expectation in their eyes for this female protagonist in The Merchant of Venice, so that they get to realize and understand in the next scene when she enters, they know straight away that yes, this is Portia and nobody else. So Shakespeare, using these very deftful touches of genius, has been able to create those doses of curiosity and is able to keep the exposition of the play alive, the spanning out of the characters alive, the introduction of the plot alive, and at the same time is able to proceed to now the main portions of the plot and the drama. Let's continue. Antonio says, "Is that anything now?" So he reacts to Graciano's words. He says, "Does that make any sense?" He's asking to Bassanio. Bassanio replies by saying, "Graciano speaks an infinite deal of nothing. He talks a lot of nonsense," he says, "more than any man in all Venice. Not a man in Venice talks more nonsense than Graciano does," he says. "His reasons are as 2 grains of wheat hid in 2 bushels of chaff." Now, bushels are a unit of measurement, a dry unit of measurement, and chaff is a husk of grain. So when you hide 2 grains of wheat in huge quantities of chaff, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time and labor to search for those 2 small tiny grains of wheat. To which he says, "You shall seek all day ere you find them." You shall seek for those 2 grains of wheat. You shall search for those 2 grains of wheat before you find them And when you have them, when you have eventually found those 2 grains of wheat after having spent the entire day in its search, what happens, it says, when you have them, they are not worth the search. It isn't worth the time, the effort. Why? Because the 2 grains, it means nothing. It's worthless. It's futile. That is what Gratiano is described as by Bassanio, his words, his nonsensical utterings. Antonio says, well, tell me now, what lady is the same to whom you swore a secret pilgrimage that you today promised me to tell of? So Antonio asks Bassanio. He's not interested about Gratiano anymore. Gratiano is gone. He has left the scene. He's more bothered about that lady whom Bassanio had promised to tell off to Antonio. He says, forget about all that. You tell me about that lady to whom you had swore a secret pilgrimage, whom you had swore to meet secretly, to travel there and meet her secretly, today that you had promised to tell me of. You had promised to tell me of that lady whom you had promised to go and swore a secret pilgrimage. Come on, tell me about that lady, he asks. So as soon as the lady is mentioned, we become curious. We want to know who that lady is. Mind you, the lady does not come right here. The lady comes way later into the next scene. Bassanio says, "'Tis not unknown to you, Antonio, how much I have disabled my state." Now, it's known to you. It is not unknown to you, he says. You know it very well, Antonio, how much I have disabled my estate. Disabled my estate means I have wasted my fortunes, my estate, my money, my finances, by something showing a more swelling port than my faint means would grant continuance. I wasted all my money. Why? Because I have lived a grand lifestyle. I have lived a way more prosperous of a lifestyle than my earnings, my income would suffice, he says. Would grant continuance. Grant continuance means permit. Faint means modest means meager amount that he earns. It does not guarantee, it doesn't warranty that lavish lifestyle of his, but he has been leading that. And today he finds himself in crisis. He is accepting all that in front of Antonio, which shows the kind of close bonding that they share. Nor do I now make moan to be abridged from such a noble rate, nor do I complain, make moan, that I have been forced to give up that living in that grand manner. I do not complain that I have been forced to give that up. No, I'm not complaining to you. But what I'm saying is, but my main concern, my chief aim, my chief care is to come fairly off from the great debts. To come fairly off here means to come off, to pay off, to be free of those great debts. Debts means all the money that he owes to people. Great debts that I have, great debts wherein my time something too prodigal hath left me gaped. Prodigal means spendthrift, someone who does not think twice before spending money, without any logic, without any reason. Because of my prodigal nature, my spendthrift nature, what has happened is I have been left gauged. And gauged here means to be bound to a pledge. Incurred losses. And because of my youthful, my lavish, grand lifestyle, he says. To you, Antonio, very, very important lines. He says, to you, Antonio, I owe the most. I owe the most to you in money and in love. both in money and in love. Why? Because he says, and from your love I have a warranty to unburden all my plots and purposes. And it is out of your love, out of your affection that I always get from you, that I today want to reveal, open up about all my plans and purposes of what I intend to do to free myself of these huge debts that are on my head, that are burdening me, he says. How to clear off all the debts I owe, how to be clean of them. Antonio, on hearing this, is concerned. He had only asked, tell me about the lady whom you were trying to go to, whom you had pledged a secret pilgrimage. But this is the response that Bassanio gives. Antonio is now concerned. He says, I pray you, good Bassanio, let me know it. And if it stand as you yourself still do within the eye of honor, if your plans and your purposes stand to be as honorable as you are at this moment in time, then be assured, be sure. Three things. He says, be sure that my purse, my person, and my extremest means lie all unlocked to your occasions. Means my purse here means all my money, everything. And my person means myself, all my resources, myself. And my extremest means I can go to any stretch to help you come out of this crisis, lie all unlocked. I have bared myself open, and I can give everything that I possess to help you, he says. Bassanio then reveals, in my school days, when I had lost one shaft is an arrow. Those of you who are watching Ramayana and Mahabharata, you will know. They take these arrows and they shoot it. So he's saying, in my school days, in my younger days, when I had lost one shaft, I shot his fellow of the self same flight. When I lost one arrow, one shaft, I used to take another shaft of the same structure, the same height, the same shape, and shoot it in that same direction, the same way as the previous one, he says. He's giving examples. These are all metaphors we'll come to know. He says, I shot his fellow of the self same flight, the self same way, with more advised watch. This time, while I shot the second arrow, I kept more vigilance over it. I was more aware as to where it went and where it landed. That way, he says, to find the other fourth. And by adventuring both, I oft found both. Means, I initially shot one, it went. I did not realize where it went. I went to search it, it was not there. So what did I do? I took another one, the exact same shape and same size, and I shot it the same way as the previous one in the same direction. And this time, in the second case, I observed it. As I observed it carefully, I understood where it went and landed. And I went there and searched that space. That way I found both the arrows. I could retrieve both by risking both, he says. He gives the example. Now, I urge this childhood proof. I'm offering this childhood proof because what follows is pure innocence. He says, I'm giving you this childhood proof, childhood example, because what I'm going to say you next is pure innocence. He adds. Next it goes, I owe you much, and like a willful youth, what does he owe? He owes him money, he owes him love. See, he says, I owe you much. There is this sense of gratefulness, gratitude that he feels towards Antonio, that he expresses without any shame, without any hindrance, that shows the absolute blind faithfulness that they share between themselves. It cannot be doubted. It is unconditional love in its purest form. So, I owe you much, and like a willful youth, willful is self-willed. Youth, that which I owe is lost. But if you please to shoot another arrow that self-way which you did shoot the first, I do not doubt, as I will watch the aim or to find both, he says. Now, he gives the example. He compares the arrow with money. He now asks Antonio to lend him some more money, and with that money he will now put it to good use and watch it with advised watch. That way it could be possible for him to retrieve either both the money that he had used up initially, or at least get back the amount that he has now taken from Antonio. It goes this way. It says, I have lost that what you have gave me. It's all gone. It's futile now. But if you give me another loan, if you give me another arrow, the way you did give me the first time, then without any doubt, repay you. I will repay you by being careful, at least the second debt, while remaining grateful, remaining thankful to you for the first. It says, or as I will watch the aim or to find both, or bring you latter hazard back again. Latter hazard means the latter risk, the second loan that I'll be taking from you, and thankfully rest debtor to the first, for the first. He says, in debt only for the first loan. Why? Because by then I would have repaid you the second loan, because I will be now using it with more advised watch. Like in childhood, I used to throw or shoot that second arrow with much more vigilance and notice and purpose. He says, Antonio reacts saying, you know me well. Come on, Bassanio, you know me well, don't you? And herein spend but time to wind about my love with circumstance. Circumstance here means circumlocution, means using too far many words to describe something. You're going round and round and round. Tell me what is the matter, he wants to ask. Hit the core. Tell me, what is the crisis? What do you need? I am there to help you. He has already told, my money, my purse, myself and all my resources lie open, bare. It's for you. Just tell me. And out of doubt you do me now more wrong in making question of my uttermost than if you had made waste of all I have. By doubting me, you are doing more wrong to me than if you would have taken everything that I had and wasted it, he says. Then do but say to me what I should do. All you have to do is just tell me what I have to do. And in your knowledge may by me be done. And I am pressed onto it. As soon as you tell me what I have to do, what is to be done by me, I will instantly do it. I am pressed onto it. Pressed onto it means I am at once willingly ready to do it. Without any words, without any conditions, he says. Therefore, speak, please speak up, he says. Bassanio says, now he introduces the lady, Portia. So the question was around 10 minutes back. Tell me about the lady, tell me. But Bassanio was a little hesitant to tell him about the lady. Why? Because to tell him about Portia, he needs money. He does not have money today. And who can lend him money? He knows it is Antonio who can lend him money, because he is such a dear friend of his. So after having brought up that issue of him being such a spendthrift, him being such a careless youth who has spent so much and is now in debt, he now creates that ground, that foundation to put forward Portia and him going to Belmont, for which he'll be needing money. He now starts He says, in Belmont is a lady richly left, and she is fair and fairer than that word of wondrous virtues. There is a lady in Belmont. Belmont, I've told you before, it is a fictional place created by Shakespeare. It symbolizes love, it symbolizes emotion, it symbolizes everything that is not Venice. And he describes Portia as the lady who has been richly left, means she has inherited a lot of riches, a lot of fortunes from her father. And she is fair. Now understand the exaggeration to describe the fairness. Is fairer than that word. There is no word to describe the fairness of such wondrous virtues. She has such wonderful, wondrous, beautiful virtues. Sometimes from her eyes I did receive fair, speechless messages. This shows that Portia and Bassanio have already met before, and they have exchanged glances, exchanged messages, unspoken messages, just with their eyes, just with their expressions, which suggests that they are fond of each other. There is a union, there is a bond waiting to develop, if only fortune permits them, fate permits them. Her name is Portia, he says, nothing undervalued to Cato's daughter. Her name is Portia, and she is not undervalued, nothing undervalued to Cato's daughter. Now, I'll put this up here. Cato is the Roman statesman, and his daughter was Portia, and Portia was the wife of Brutus. And we all know that Brutus had a hand in killing Julius Caesar, in the assassination of Julius Caesar. So it means that Portia was not a common woman. Portia was Cato's daughter, the great statesman of Rome. She was the wife of Brutus, the Roman general, which suggests that this Portia too, the Portia of Bassanio, the Portia of Belmont, is as valued as the Portia of history. Nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth, nor is the wide world. Everyone throughout the world, everywhere, is aware of the worth of Portia. No one is ignorant, he says. For the four winds bring in from every coast renowned suitors. Four winds here means the four directions, the cardinal directions, the north, south, east, west. From every such direction, there are suitors coming in to woo Portia, to win Portia. Such is the worth, such is the beauty, such is the fairness of this lady here in Belmont. To describe this, he uses wonderful metaphors of the golden fleece and the island of Colchis, comparing it with Belmont. We'll come to that. He says, renowned suitors, and her sunny locks, sunny means shiny, golden locks of hair. Locks of hair hang on her temples like a golden fleece. Temples are this place on your forehead, the two sides. The golden locks, it hangs on the two sides this way for Portia. Right? Like a golden fleece, which makes her seat, a golden fleece metaphorical. Why? Because, I'll get you here. Golden fleece here means according to the Greek legend, we have Jason and his companions who set out on a dangerous voyage in search of the golden fleece, the golden ram. Jason found the golden fleece in Colchis, in a grove guarded by a dragon. But before Jason could win it, could bring that golden fleece from there, many individuals, many other people had tried to go into that island and win over, that take that golden fleece away. But everybody failed except Jason, who could bring it with the help of his wife. So here in this context, it says Portia, because of her golden locks, she's like the golden fleece. And Colchis, the island where Jason had gone seeking for the golden fleece, defeating the dragon and getting hold of it, the people, the suitors coming from all over the world are like the Jasons in pursuit of Portia, in pursuit of the golden fleece. And Belmont is like Colchis, the island where the golden fleece was stationed, which makes a seat of Belmont, Colchis strand, and many Jasons come in quest of her. Many Jasons come to compete for her, to win her over. Oh my Antonio, he says, had I but the means, if I had the means, the money, the resources, to hold a rival place with one of them. They are all of high statures, of high fortunes, of high wealth. If I could match up to them, if only, he says, I have a mind presages me such thrift that I should questionless be fortunate. He says, I have this instinct, that gut feeling that is telling me that if I could match up to them, I am sure that I will be fortunate. Thrift here means success. Presage means foretell. I can see my future. I can see my success only if I can go and match up to those suitors with the money. After having said this, Antonio says, thou knowest that all my fortunes are at sea. He wants to help him. He wants to help him with his money. He has already committed himself before. But here, when Bassanio asks him for the money, he says, I know I want to help you. I want to, but how can I? Because all my money, my fortunes are at sea in the ships that have not yet arrived. They are there. Neither have I money nor commodity. Commodity here means goods that can be used as security for a loan. Commodity, to raise a present sum, to raise money at present. Therefore go forth, please go ahead, go forth. Try what my credit can in Venice do. See what money you can get, with what credit can you get in Venice using my name, using my tag, he says. That shall be racked even to the uttermost. It shall be stretched to the limits, he says, to provide you with the money that is necessary. To furnish you to Belmont, to fair Portia, go presently inquire, go and ask, seek help, come on, in my name, in my credit. Because Antonio is such a good moneylender, he has a good name in Venice. He expects people to help him out because it is Antonio who is involved. He says, go inquire, so will I. I will also go and seek for any help, any people who are willing to help us. I'll go, you go too, he says, where money is, and I am no question, and I no question make to have it of my trust or for my sake. Means you can have the money or on account of friendship that people bear for me, or through the formal credit. Any two ways. All that I want is money for you. You can either have it on formal credit, the way people take money, or you can have it for my sake, for the friendship that people bear towards me. Anything. Let us go and seek that money that you need. The money that will furnish you to Belmont, to match you with the other suitors there, so that you can go and win over the lady love of yours, that is Portia. So there goes the first scene of the play. The characters are all introduced, the plot is initiated, we are well and truly into the drama, Now we are more curious to know whether or not Bassanio will be able to get the money, whether or not Bassanio will reach Belmont, whether or not Bassanio will win Portia over. Let's keep the suspense alive, because in the next scene we have Portia, we have Nerissa. The scene goes from Venice to Belmont. Thank you. Like, share and subscribe, and show your love in the comment section if you feel the videos are helping you and it is worth it. I will get that my share of motivation to keep recording and helping you. Thank you.